In this video, I'm going to be talking about why you should not be using REDX. AJ Mida here, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things real estate and investing. First thing you're probably going to be wondering is, what is REDX? So real quick, for those that already know, it's essentially a lead service that gets you expired listings for sale by owners. It's a power dialer and a whole lot more. So it's really for those who want to be seller prospecting. Now let's dive into the top 5 reasons you should not be using REDX. The first one is you want to be a buyer's agent. REDX is a great seller prospecting tool, but it's not really going to help you get buyers. Of course, some sellers end up also buying a house, but if you're kind of intimidated by listing houses, or for whatever reason you just want to be a buyer's agent, you don't see the advantages of listing houses, like not having to show buyers around on the weekends and nights and really be at their beck and call, and not being able to work, say, 5 listings in the same amount of time as it might take, say, 1 buyer. If you don't see all those benefits and you want to remain at buyer's agents, well then I definitely would not get REDX. The second reason I wouldn't get REDX, if you're not going to consistently prospect. Seller prospecting using a system like REDX takes a while. It's all about building your pipeline. So if you're not going to consistently do it and you're always getting excited and stopping, getting excited and stopping, start, stop, well then you're not really going to pick up the momentum that you need to be successful in this. I found the number 1 key to success is consistency. With anything in life, right? If you're trying to lose weight, you got to work out and eat healthy consistently. You can't just do it for a week and stop. It's the same thing with seller prospecting. So you got to be consistent to be successful in real estate. Number 3, you're not willing to improve. If you're not willing to improve, you're really going to struggle with seller prospecting, and honestly with real estate in general. You need to be practicing your scripts. When prospecting for sellers, you got to be using a script. Now, the way you internalize it so that it becomes your own, so it doesn't feel like a script, is by practicing, and that's how you improve your skills. So the best way to practice scripts is by role-playing, by chanting, and you guessed it, by writing them out. When I first started selling real estate, I was practicing my scripts for 15 to 30 minutes every single morning before my prospecting session, and that allowed me to kind of get warmed up for my prospecting session, and it allowed me to improve my skills daily by practicing with 3 to 5 different role play partners. Then in the afternoon, I would read them out loud and I would write them out. Honestly, just 30 minutes to an hour for your first 90 days at this, you're gonna be a pro. Number 4 is going to be, if you're not playing the long game. If you look at this like a quick way to get some listings, a quick way to get some sales, and then you're gonna move on to something else, this isn't the quick way, this is the long game. So it's really the mindset of short game versus long game. When you play the long game, with seller prospecting using REDX, you're building a pipeline using their tools, using their leads, using the CRM system to essentially create these nurturers, these sellers who want to list with you in the future when they're ready, or at least open to interviewing you when they're ready. I mean, think about this. If you prospect for 3 hours a day, you should be able to talk to about 30 people, 30 times 5 days, 150 people. Out of those 150 people, you should be able to get at least 20 to 30 that say, hey, we're not ready to list right now, but when we're ready, we'll be open to interviewing you. And you get them to be thinking that by saying, hey, totally get right now is not the best time for you to list your house based on this. It's condition versus objection. If they're giving you an objection, you want to overcome that. If they're giving you a condition, you want to basically get off the call, create a nurture out of it. So you say, hey, totally get you're not going to list right now because of this. Your kids are starting school right now and you don't want to list while they're in school. Totally get it. But hey, by the way, when you go to list next summer, do you have an agent in mind that you're going to use or that you're committed to, or would you be open to interviewing me? You just want to make sure that they're not sold on like their neighbor, their brother-in-law, and that they'd be open to interviewing you. And then you just follow up with them on a regular basis using my VIP system that I'll link in the description. If you're generating 20 to 30 nurtures per week, think about what that would be over a year. Let's just say on the low end, you're averaging 20 new nurtures per week. Again, people that said they're going or are open to interviewing you when they're ready to sell. 20 times 4 weeks, that's 80. 80 times 12 is 96 or 960. That's 960 sellers who said when they go to list their house, they're open to interviewing you. Do that for 2 years, that's almost 2,000 people, 2,000 nurtures that are now in your nurture farm, I call it, that may hire you when they're ready to sell. Now, of course, they're all not going to, but eventually this becomes your pipeline that you're able to prospect, and you really don't even spend that much time prospecting for sale by owners and expired listings or just listed, just sold, because you have such a big nurture farm that you're able to work. This is the best strategy that makes prospecting so much more fun, because now you're just following up with people who already know you, you've already had a conversation with, and all the other agents who are prospecting them initially have already fallen off. And number 5, and this one's kind of silly, don't get REDX if you don't want to be a top agent in your market and drastically change your family's financial future, financial position today. Now, this one sounds a little silly, I know, but the reality is you're watching this because you want to be a top producer, but there's a lot of agents out there that just want to sell a couple houses, or they're part-time, or heck, maybe they only want to sell one a month. You know, the average agent, according to Youre, sells 6 a year. My first year, I actually was that average agent and only sold 6. But it wasn't because I had lack of desire. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the right mentor. So once I hired a coach, invested in myself, started going to conferences, started seller prospecting consistently, only eliminated all other options, all other distractions, my business took off. I sold 36 houses my second year and became one of the top agents in my market. So within 2 years, after moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, and not knowing anybody, I became one of the top agents in my market through seller prospecting using a system like REDX. And full transparency, I've used all the systems pretty much. I used Espresso Agent, I used Mojo, I used Vulcan 7, I used Land Voice. There's a lot of them out there, but what I found is REDX is the best all-in-one system for the price. Great value. It's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive, but for the value, it's great. So if you want to check out REDX, there's a link in my description where you can save $150 off the sign-up fee. And also, if you want a free course, my gift to you for watching, and if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. Give the video a like. There's a free course on seller prospecting in the description. Sign up for that, check that out. It's going to help you go from selling a handful of houses a year to 36 a year like I did. And also, guys, if you want help with follow-up, I have a VIP video that I did where actually REDX was interviewing me on their podcast in the description as well. So those will all be at the top, so check those out too. We'll see ya.